All right, welcome back. All right, so getting right into it. This is a big week when it comes to the fundamentals. So we can expect some good volume this week, especially surrounding the dollar because Wednesday is FOMC. All right, rate decision. It's expected for them to raise the rates again. Okay, so it's likely for them to continue to raise rates, and we should expect to see that and how that impact affects the dollar. So right now, if we look from a technical perspective, and just my experience trading FOMC tends to bring a lot of volume and big waves into the market. All right, so be patient this week. Just allow price to come to you, especially when you're trading the dollar. So if we're looking at the dollar index here, we can see it here. I'm on a daily chart. Price has still just been in the uptrend. All right, higher highs and higher lows. Right. So when price made this higher high, it came back and retested, found support at previous structure, and gave us a move up. All right. So on this retested structure, price printed this bullish engulfing candle on the daily, engulfing the last two daily candles. All right. So for me, this is showing signs that price is still bullish. All right. Nice close on the weekly. So until shown otherwise, I still would look for potential buys or look for the dollar to continue to be bullish. So right here at this level, price could pull some down first, possibly. If it pulls down overall, I still would look for price to continue to the upside. All right. And we'll see how we could look for that potentially on some of the dollar setups. All right. Looking at gold. So gold made a break of structure. All right. This is the first time gold actually broke below this level in over 2 years. All right. So if we look at this is a daily level, a strong level, weekly level. A price found major support or demand at this level. All right. Multiple times. So now when we come through last week with CPI numbers, price had to move down. And if we just understand structure, all right, if we look up here, price was just here on the 4 hour, price was making lower lows and lower highs, right? So all it did here was price basically came back, retested previous structure low, and continued down, giving us another lower low. So what I would look for in gold, price is pulling back now. On this pullback or retest, you could look for the potential continuation play to the downside. All right. From a technical level, that's what I'm anticipating on gold. But again, still got to be careful with FOMC. A lot of spikes and whipsaws tend to happen at times as well. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're looking to trade this. But from a technical perspective, I would say just watch this level, watch around this level when it comes for a retest, and then see if you're going to get that continuation play to the downside. All right. GU. So looking at GU, price has also been in the downtrend, really from way at this high from supply. So price has been extremely bearish. All right. If we look at this weekly candle close bearish engulfing. All right. Nice bearish close on the weekly. Could be showing a sign of more downside. Now, price came up. Excuse me. Initially, price found support. If we look to the left, this is the level of demand. So initially, I was looking for a bounce at this level, but still understanding that we're still in the downtrend. So initially, price did find support here, bounced up, and really I was looking for price to come and retest around this level, which it pretty much did. It retested around this same area of structure and then had a nice sell-off. All right, printing this bearish engulfing on a daily and then continued to drop from there because that meant the buyers were in control. So now we just work our way down to the smaller time frame, like the 4 hour. We could still see price made a lower low here. Okay, so price could pull back some, but on this pullback, possibly a retest in these levels, I would look for price to potentially give us a continued play to the downside. Now, just keep in mind, these moves is really going to be determined based off what the dollar do. So it's interesting to see if they open the market up with volume and just moving, or are they going to, kind of linger and lag waiting for FOMC? If so, you might want to wait until after FOMC, unless price shows its hand early before FOMC, because price tends to do that. A lot of times technicals will line up with the fundamentals. All right. So I believe one or two things can happen. They can give you a move like this possibly early on some of these dollar pairs, and then FOMC maybe either continue that move or maybe be a pullback, So we just got to play it based off the volume and based off what price is showing us. All right. But from a technical perspective, on GU, I would say still look for a pullback or a retest in these areas, and then look for the potential continuation down. AU. So AU is interesting because just like all the other dollar pairs, after price found support at this level, it pumped up into this level of structure, previous level of support structure, found resistance, had a deep sell-off with CPI. All right. So now it's starting to find some more support around this level. So it's interesting. So when we look at the weekly close, the weekly had a strong bearish close, really a bearish engulfing close. All right. But we're still roughly around this level of demand, because if you look to the left, this is a level of demand here that we're resting at. Okay. So now price broke below. All right. But now it's breaking back up in this level. So AU is looking like it could be setting up for a deeper correction before any more downside. All right. So we got to keep that in mind. All right. Price could be setting up for a deeper correction. So I would look at something like this, because around 0.7, this is a psychological key level of structure. So when I look at this on a smaller time frame, all right, even on a 30-minute, price is shifting back up, holding, because it could possibly be a false breakout. All right. So let's say price pull back some, hold support, we could possibly get a deeper correction up. I would look for price to at least come back to this lower high level. Possibly come up, retest this lower high, and then sell off. Because if the dollar continues to pump, I do expect AU to continue to sell off. All right, but it's going to be interesting to see if this descent decides to correct even deeper. Because if that happens, then that means the dollar is probably correcting some before possibly giving us that continued up move. So keep that in mind. So either there or, AU could possibly still, if it breaks past that level, it'll possibly come up a little higher for a deeper correction before then possibly setting up for that just that continuation play. All right. So if it does that, it'll be interesting to see if price wants to hold at that level. So really just got to be patient. And let's see how price develops. All right. And EU, lastly, EU. So looking at EU also had a deep sell-off. But if we're looking at this on the weekly, clearly we could see lower lows and lower highs. All right. We could see clear structure. We can see clear structure, the price making lower lows and lower highs. So it's interesting because looking at this on the weekly, price did form this level of support. All right, with this weekly price action, almost looking like a morning star, but it's interesting to see how price is going to react, because overall we just want to. It's best to trade in line with the trend, but after that is like a type of morning star reversal. After that, it did pump up. All right, but then you see we had that sell off again. So this is how I would look at EU trading it next. So I'm looking at this on the daily. We're making these lower lows and lower highs. I can take my trend line here. You will actually see that price gave you a trend line rejection as well. Third trend line hit there. And then when we also look at where price rejected from on the pullback, it rejected from this level of structure, at retest of structure. All right. Some might call this an order block, but it retested there. We look to the left. This was a minor level of support and a level of a bearish order level where price had a sell-off. All right. So that's the structure that it pulled into, and it had a deep sell-off. It printed this big bearish engulfing on the daily. All right. That could be a sign that sellers are still in control and prices could be heading more to the downside, at least giving us another wave. So this could be just setting up for a correction of that before continuing down. That's something that I'll potentially look for. So if we look at this on a 4-hour, you can see also structure more clear. All right, looking to the left, this was a previous level of support,
and this was also a level where price broke down from. So it retested in there, and that's what we had to sell off. So now looking at this could be setting up just for a correction. On this correction, I would look for, if it does give a deep pullback like this, I would look for a potential continuation play. All right, especially if FOMC come out, and we also see the dollar stay strong, then chances are EU is going to set up for a continued wave down. All right. So we just got to use the dollar index for added influence, and just trade what we see based off of price action. But overall, remember to always focus on the higher time frames. The higher time frames is going to tell you where price is likely going to head. And then we just play it, work our way down to these smaller time frames, and just look for our potential opportunities for entry. All right. So those are pretty much the main pairs that I'm looking at for this week. If you're in VIP, if you're in the Discord, I will be keeping you guys up to date, as well as doing that live session tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. All right, going over trading in line with structure. So I'll see you all on that one. God bless you.